Have you ever heard the saying, good things come to those who wait? Well, it can be true for those who succeed later in life. Dr. Frieda Birnbaum, research psychologist and psychotherapist, joins us live to talk about late bloomers and how finding that success later in life can be a big advantage. Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see you and to speak to you. What can I tell you? But you know, Zach, were you an early bloomer? I can't ask you if you were a late bloomer because you're too young for that.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. I feel like I'm an old soul, so I don't know if that would constitute as I don't know.
I think you were. I think
Yeah.
you still are. I think you're still young. So I'm going to answer it for you.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, there's so many people who are so accomplished and so successful. Do you know who Julia Child is?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, it shows that you're not that young. You know, a lot of people don't know these people, but so she is very iconic. She started in her 40s to actually show people how to cook French cooking and French baking, and she dropped the chicken when she was cooking, stuffing it, and picked it up and stuffed it again. So she was my kind of person because my kitchen's a mess. But you know, so then we're talking about Vera Wang, who was 49 years old when she started designing wedding dresses, and she's a very famous designer. She's 74, 75 now, still looks like she's 49. So a lot of people who got involved in life's pursuits later on when they were really ready for it. Developmentally, you know, our frontal cortex is 26, they say. You're supposed to be fully developed. Some people take much longer than that. What can I tell you?
It was early this morning. I was preparing for the day, and I was reading an article on our Hoda Kotb, NBC's Hoda Kotb, and she was talking about turning 60 and how she anticipates her 60s will be even better than her 50s, and her 50s were the best yet. That's when she, you know, had her children. She was 50 and older, and that's when she landed her dream job. So I get it, you know, a lot of folks, you know, start living that life that they dream of later in life. I want to talk about motivation. There are two different types of motivation. Dr. Birnbaum, break those motivations down for us.
We know there's the extrinsic and there's intrinsic motivation. Usually extrinsic are students, people that have to prove themselves. They're very young, getting the right test scores, getting into the right colleges, having their future set in front of them. It's a lot of pressure, these SAT tests. You know, I have two sons now, they're twins, and they have to go through this. I think it's ridiculous. I think they're not ready, but this is what society wants. And then the intrinsic kind of values that you have when you get older, which means that you're doing something because you have a passion for it. It's more long-term, research-based, scientifically oriented. So that's a time really when you're really going into something that's true to who you are than when you were younger. So we really have to start looking at this. You know, there's a very famous young man who went to college and flunked out. And then after that, he went ahead and went into working for an insurance company. And then he got into fights. And then years later, he decided to open up a fast food takeout place called Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he was 64 years old at the time. So there you go. There are people out there now that are contributing later on. So if you do have a feeling you haven't done enough, wait a while and wait and see when you're ready, and you may just be a late bloomer. And then there's a story about Paul Cézanne, a painter who every year went to Paris to sell his paintings, and every year he was rejected. So he worked for a bank for his father, and then years and years later, somebody called him up and said, would you like to put your paintings on display in our art gallery? And because of that, people bought everything, and he increased his prices, and he became very wealthy. So there you go again. Society is telling you, do it now, but you have to listen to your heart and do it when it's ready. And what about Simone Biles, the champion of all champions with gymnastics that won all these awards for the Olympics? She's considered old at the age of 27, but she's really still a baby considered to Grandma Moses, who was 77 when she had her first painting. So I guess I still have time. I think.
It's never too late, right? It's
Yes,
never
it's
too
never
late.
too late. What is your long-term goal? Do you have one?
Oh my goodness. I think that's a conversation for another day. We'd be here all day talking about that. No, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Secrets.
Look at Dr. Birnbaum's
I'm
calling
really
me out
curious.
this
Now
morning.
I really have to know.
Well, we'll talk.
Over.
We'll talk. But I do want to say this though. I think, or I suspect, leading to that success later in life. You mentioned, you touched upon it. Having that heart, having that passion, but also remaining curious, right?
Yes, the people who are curious are the ones that throughout their whole lives, they're always doing something, learning music, art, mechanics, whatever that is. And those are the Nobel Prize winners, 22 more times of having a chance to get this Nobel Prize. We're talking about Leonardo da Vinci. He was one of those people. He actually was into human anatomy, engineering, science, and he became one of the world's best known painters. So yes, you're absolutely right. To continue that rhythm in life is something that you continue, but you keep changing.
Yeah.
Look at Elon Musk, who's contributing so much to the world, and he keeps looking at different ways of going ahead and making that huge leap for humankind and society. So yes, when we keep doing these things in our lives, we keep changing the way we look and we keep changing the way we think because of our age, because of what's happening in our environment, and because of past results. Past results are building blocks for what's going to happen in the future. For sure. I still want to know what your long-term...
We're going to have to take that conversation offline. I can tell you this. I'm grateful and thankful. I trust the process. I'm happy to be where I'm at. And, I love doing what I do. And I wake up every day, feeling like I don't have to go to work because I'm playing with my heart and the passion of journalism.
You're blessed because that's the best place. Not having to work yet getting paid for it.
Yeah. Well, it's truly a public service, right? Yeah.
And to pay the rent. What could be better? What could be better than that? So keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to keep watching you and keep enjoying everything you have to offer, Zach.
You're the sweetest. Always. You're the sweetest. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Dr. Birnbaum, thank you so much again. Okay.